Hey guys, so it's John, Digital Gramophone, back again with another video. Today I'm going to talk about this past weekend. We had another VC meetup in Charlotte. The guys that live around here. Dave from Local Bandography had contacted me a little over a month ago and asked me if I wanted to go to a record fair that was coming to town. And so I said, yeah, let's do that, you know, especially giving me that much notice. I was able to kind of work things out, figure out how to come up with the funds for that. But yeah, in the meantime, Chris, who's from the Man Cave, had posted some Otis Redding LPs and that I purchased off of him. And he said, you know, and if I could mail them to you, or you know, we could just meet up. And I said, well, we're going to this record fair in a few weeks. If you want to meet us, or actually, I think it was like a couple weeks away at that point. So if you just want to meet us there, you can bring them there. So he did. You know, this is on the Volt label, it's an original stereo. More Volt label, Complete and Unbelievable, the Otis Redding Dictionary of Soul. The last one was the Soul album. So yeah, he gave me a little bit of a deal on those, or well, the bundle, just a little bit less than what he was asking for. So he brought those to me. So we went to this record fair down in Valentine, which is a south suburb of Charlotte, urban sprawl, suburban sprawl. And it was at a hotel there, and we just, you know, we went there. I got there, Dave was inside and went in. It was before it was supposed to even start, and there were already people in there digging. It's usually how it works. And then Chris showed up, and Dylan showed up, Mr. Noble Records, and Chris's friend Josh. So it was pretty much everybody that was together at the last one, except for Bill, our honorary North Carolina VC member. Yeah, so it was a small record fair. There was some good stuff. It had been years since I'd been to anything like this. And it was my first actual, like, strictly record fair. I've been to things before where there's just all kinds of media, comic books and records, and it's like kind of like might as well just call it an elevated flea market or something. But anyway, so this is the first record fair, official record fair I've been to, and it was a little overwhelming. And Dave had experience with this particular guy that ran these shows, so he kind of knew some of the people that were going to be there. So he knew kind of where to go. He had some suggestions for Chris on some jazz. And then, you know, you just kind of roam around, you just kind of see what's going on. Almost all of the rock and pop was overpriced. At least $5 to $10 over what your median price would be on Discogs for these records. Maybe even worse on a couple of them. So I was kind of wary, and what I decided to do is I decided to look for things that I typically don't find in the wild on just a regular visit to my local record store. So I decided to focus on like R&B and the blues. So there was this one booth that I came across, and he had killer selection of blues and R&B. And I got all of these from his booth. this Howlin' Wolf comp from the 70s. It's called Heart Like Railroad Steel. Collection of stuff from 51 to 57. And this is like late 70s, I think it was put out. It's on Blues Ball Records. Here's the label. There's the label. He said it was pretty rare. I don't know. Some of you guys, blues collectors, might know better than I do. But I needed more Howlin' Wolf specifically in my collection, so I decided to pick that up. Then he had this Booker T and the MGs doing our thing on stacks. This original stereo. This original press on mono press of Lloyd Price's Cookin'. 61, I believe. And then he had some pretty cool bluegrass, and so I picked up this Norman Blake on a rounder. We'll pick up just about anything if it's on a rounder, especially from the bluegrass greats. So yeah. Then there was this guy back in the back who Chris and Dave and Dylan were just like hoarding. They were like hoarding this guy's what he had. He is there from Richmond, Virginia. Everybody else is from around the Carolinas, and the only reason why he decided to come to this one was because he was on his way to another one in Raleigh. And I had not even been over there. I saw they were all huddled over around him, and I was just like, well, there's no way I'm getting in the middle of that. Like, you know, like it's probably all jazz. I'm the jazz novice, you know, and I was just like, I'll just let those guys, you know, have it out or whatever. And so then we kept checking in on each other, seeing what each other had, you know, and then Dave was just like, you ought to go check that guy's booth out, you know, he had killer stuff. It's small, but it's all like quality. And I said, okay, I'll go look. So I went, and he did. He had some really good stuff. He had some great like classic like psych represses, some really good, like just a wide variety of genres. He had like obscure like Japanese like music and just like experimental stuff that was on like local imprints and stuff. It's just wild stuff. Really cool. You know, I'm there with all these guys that have all this jazz knowledge, and I didn't take advantage of any of it at the time. I was just looking for R&B, right? So I finally, you know, I said, okay, well, let me see what he's got in the jazz. And I was looking at a couple of Yusuf Lateef albums because I don't have any of stuff by him, and he's somebody that I would like to get into more. So I pulled a couple of Yusuf Lateef albums out, and then I pulled these two, or just one of them. Art Blakey and Jazz Messengers at the Jazz Corner of the World. These are represses on Blue Note. They're like second or third presses on Blue Note. And Dave was just like, definitely get the Blakey. I mean, I have a couple of Blakey albums already, but he was like, you know, definitely get the Blakey, because he said that those Lateef albums are a little bit more, you know, out there and probably not a good place to start. So I said, okay, fine, man, I'll do it. And so I picked up that one, and the volume 1 is an early 60s press. It's a Van Gelder stamp, which I know a little bit about, but not a ton. And then I picked up volume 2 as well. I think this was, is this a 66? And they're both stereo, but they were fairly priced and in really, really good condition. And to find both of them together, you know, the guy knew what he had. When I bought those, he just threw in, because I picked up and looked at this. I never see this stuff in the wild. This Loudon Wainwright album from, I think it was 73, yeah. So he just threw that in. Which was cool. So the guy that organizes the show, he had like probably the biggest selection of stuff there, and it was great. And I went through a little bit of the rock and pop. Like I thought maybe I'll look for some, maybe I could fill in some older Beach Boys LPs here or something like that. And then I went into his R&B, and he had funkin' mixed in with all of his R&B and soul, and he had some really, really good stuff in there. He had sealed Parliament albums from the 70s. They were club editions because they had like a barcode on the back, but they were, I looked it up on Discogs. The barcode kind of threw me off, but I looked it up on Discogs, and those were still like 70s presses, like the year they came out, or maybe a year or two after. And so I was kind of maybe thinking of getting those. There's a couple of Parliament albums that I didn't have, and he had just a bunch of other. He had some like just really cool like 70s stuff that was just in great condition, and then I stumbled upon this, and I'm going to leave it in the sleeve for right now. James Brown's The Payback. And it looks great, right? Yeah. So I'm like, wow, I don't ever see that album. The album's beat up every time I come across it, and every time I've come across it in the past. I mean, really beat up. And I was like, this thing's in great shape. And so I'm going off of all the other stuff that I've looked at, and I got a little too excited. And you ever get, when you're digging, do you ever get like excited about seeing something, and then you just talk yourself into believing that it actually is? No, this is the too good to be true scenario, and I've stumbled upon it. It's on Polydor, and it's the right, catalog number and everything. Polydor labels, like the original. But here's the thing. I never took the jacket out and looked at it under the light while it was there. And you don't even have to look at it under the light. You can look at it in the dark, and you can just see. Look at that gloss. Yeah, it's not anywhere close to like 73 press at all. I'm such an idiot. Like, I don't normally do stuff like this at this stage in my, but I really was. I wanted it to be. So in my mind, it was. Estimated that it's like a late 90s press. This vinyl is heavy stuff. It's 180, maybe 200 gram. And then here's the other thing. I'm sharing this because I just want, I just want you to know. I don't have anything to hide. I feel like an idiot, but I don't have anything to hide. See the label? It's pretty much a dead ringer, right? For the original. The problem is The original, James wearing a hat. And this is no hat. Also, I really should have, I mean, the catalog number where it's printed, the font is just so clean. And those labels are just too clean. And I really should have inspected it further. It only cost me $25, which is probably what this thing would cost new. So that was cool. He threw in this Dinah Washington for free as well. It's kind of beat. There's no sleeve on the inside, but maybe if I clean it up, it'll sound okay. What a Difference a Day Makes is one of my favorite R&B songs. Probably one of my top 50 songs, period. I love that song. But yeah, so that, you know, that happened. And of course, I'm like, you know, when the guys are checking in, what'd you get? Oh man, look at this Payback. And they're like, oh man, that's in great shape. That's classic. Yeah. So, I haven't listened to it yet. I hope it sounds good. And I hope it's not like a noisy bootleg or something. So yeah, so the record fair, and with the guys, the VC guys, we went and had a few beers after, some lunch after, and it was cool. It was a fun day. Yeah, so anyway, that's it. I got some more things in the works here. I'm going to do a couple of contest entries for some folks. And yeah, that's it. I hope you guys are doing well. We'll talk to you later. All right, bye.